Saying something is the best is very awkward, especially in this internet age. Photography, it's a very personal thing, and what works best for one person might not be best for the other. One lens isn't necessarily a direct replacement or competitor for another. What feels better for me might not feel better for you. I've got that out of the way. Even though the 16mm f1.4 arguably has the better image quality and maybe focusing, I've constantly been drawn to the XF18. The focal length, the size of the lens, for example, just fits me better. However, I've always felt that this 16mm is one of my favourite lenses, and lately I've been rethinking if I'd replace my 18mm completely with the 16mm for work. Let me tell you why. Yes, they are different focal lengths, but I know I can work with both. So let's see. The 16mm is obviously a lot larger than the 18mm. It's twice as heavy, and it's also more expensive than the 18mm. Now, cost isn't a huge issue when it comes to a work lens, but there you go. The 16mm offers a minimum focus distance of 15 centimeters. That is only 3 centimeters closer than the 18mm, so not a huge deal breaker there. Now, for some, the weather resistance of the 16mm is a deal breaker over something like the 18. The 18 doesn't have the push-pull clutch manual focus system that the 16mm has, but for me, for the work that I do, that's not a big deal at all. Physically, the differences are quite obvious, but that might not make a difference for you as it has done for me. So what's more important? Image quality. Yep, image quality is always king. So let's talk about that next. When it comes to complete image quality, the 16mm is better than the 18mm, but in real world shooting, weddings, documentary style stuff that I enjoy, I haven't had an issue with this 18mm, and I've already spoken about it on the channel. Clearly the 16mm would be the better option were I to need it for landscape shooting and more technical applications. Okay, it is less of a clear win on paper for the 16mm, with both lenses producing very usable out of focus areas and separation. Of course, the 1.4 of the 16mm does give it a bit of an advantage, but it's not that noticeable. Anyway, here's a few more very random samples with the 16mm. So IQ is a win for the 16mm, but for the style of shooting that I earn a living from mostly, normally, the 18mm is no slouch. And the compact nature of the 18mm means that it's more discreet, fits into my style of shooting more when it comes to weddings and events, documentary stuff. So this 18mm still has a place in my kit bag and on one of my camera bodies at an event. It isn't to say that the 16mm is a perfect lens other than the size. The chromatic aberration, for example, when shooting wide open can be a little bit awkward if you don't want to edit too much. Then there's the focusing. Now, I didn't find there's really a winner there, although if you're into manual focusing, the 16mm is clearly the winner. I'm not a big manual focus shooter, so it's not a big deal. In fact, the clutch can get in my way sometimes. At least it did until I got used to the lens. This and the 14mm gave me some grief. Got used to it soon enough. As for the autofocus, I've put up some autofocus tests with the 18mm before, and also the 16mm. I'm going to throw those up too. It's clear it's nowhere near as bad as the internet will tell you. The 16mm is pretty decent, as you'll see for yourself. Here it is on the XT4, and as I said, there's an extended test video clip coming up soon too. Could I live with the 16mm a little bit more then? Sure. I could see myself traveling with this lens, but then again, size is a factor. I could use the 18mm and save space, or even get the 16mm f2.8, which is a very nice lens, albeit not one I'd consider for my work kit. I have owned and used the XF16mm, which is an excellent lens, but for some reason, I was no longer in love with that full frame 21mm focal length. So I sold it and went back to the 18mm, which is actually my second copy of the 18mm, I should add. It just feels right to me. That brings us to the XF18mm 1.4. Well, I imagine that'll be basically as big as this 16mm. So maybe I should give the 16mm another chance when work picks up again and see if I can fall in love with it as a work tool as well as an all-round quality lens. It is one of my favorites. Arguably, it's one of the best Fujifilm lenses for a working photographer. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. What are your favorite or best lenses? Be sensible. Photography, gear is a personal thing, generally.